Welcome everyone, this is John with Living in Our 50s. I hope y'all are having a fantastic day. I know I am. Just got back from the gym and it's thinning out even more. I don't know if it's because it's Friday and people got other things to do, because I have noticed it's a little less visited there on Fridays. But anyhow, today I got called out by a lady to fix her commode, and well, we had to order a new one. And it's gonna be too windy. I don't know if y'all will be able to hear me, so I'm gonna try to move. It's getting kind of windy out here because we got storms coming overnight. Not right now, maybe overnight, but yeah, it's gonna be windier over here. So we're just gonna walk back this way. So get called out there, and then I find out that there's a lot more going on than just the toilet. So toilet will be here Monday. I'll go back out there Tuesday to fix it. I'm gonna have to bring a buddy with me, and he's agreed to help me with this project because it's going to be a project. Her furnace isn't working either, or it's intermittent, I should say. Another tech has done the work, and I'm not saying he did anything wrong. It's just when I looked at the wiring, I couldn't quite figure out without, pulling out my voltmeter. And now there's more to the story. She's not able to really afford. She's on a fixed income. She's not really able to afford my rate. So, from time to time, I feel like this is what I want to talk about today. I feel like it's biblical to help people. Sometimes you just have to help people. You can't just always look at everything from a profit standpoint. I believe God takes care of us when we do those kinds of things. But it's, whether he does or not the point. Because I feel like helping someone in need, biblically speaking, isn't optional, but it's central to what it means to follow Jesus. So I want to touch on that a little bit today, bring up maybe some scriptures and stuff. I was going to walk around and do this, but it's too windy out there. But, I had to reach out and try to find somebody to help me with this, because it's not a popular thing to do. When you go to help somebody, sometimes if the word gets out that you helped someone, then people just come out of the woodworks, and I can't afford to operate like that. So, but to me, love isn't just a feeling; it's an action. This lady is her late husband was a pastor for 45 years, I think she said. So, this is where I feel like the hands and feet of Jesus need to come together and try to help this lady. Because, in James 2, verses 14 through 17, it says, we're told that faith without works is dead. If someone is hungry and we say, be warm and be filled, but don't meet their need, what good is that? Biblical love moves. Biblical love shows up. Biblical love costs something. The example of the Good Samaritan, let's talk about that one. In Luke 10, verses 25 through 37, Jesus tells the parable of the Good Samaritan. The religious leaders passed by. The Samaritan stopped. He interrupted his schedule. He spent his own money and took personal risk. The question wasn't, who is my neighbor? The real question was, will you be one? And I didn't even have to put it to my friend Matt like that. He understood immediately. So that's cool when I don't even have to explain. Matt's a believer, but sometimes in this business, you're not going to make a profit off of everything, okay? We try to, as best as we can, make profit, because you come into situations like this. I mean, I don't know how many times I've come into this situation. Not a whole lot, but there's been a few times. And I just, I think it's important for us to know how to give without expecting something in return. I'm not doing this. I'm not even saying this to y'all, for y'all to give kudos or praises or anything like that. Really, it's just more of this daily vlog is just really to kind of just tell you what I'm going through, what I'm faced with. And it's more of a diary maybe for me. So I can look back on it and think, okay, that's when, or for my grandson or other grandchildren if I get any, for my kids, whatever. But in Proverbs 19:17 it says, "Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord." So think about that. When you help someone in need, God takes it personally. It's not just charity; it's worship. Now, I had a former boss that he said that when he saw me working out on the streets, he saw not me just doing something I'm called to do. He saw me actually worshiping. And I really believe that through our actions, we can worship God. And that's what I'm hoping, that to move maybe just one person in that direction to help their neighbor, whatever it's not who is your neighbor, it's just, are you going to be one of them to help? So you always got to check your heart motive, because in Matthew 6 verses 1-4, Jesus warns us not to give to be seen by others. And so that's why I kind of hesitated on whether or not I should put this up. Biblical helping is quiet, humble, and God focused, but here I am putting it out on YouTube. So I'm trying to just do it as kind of a thing that hopefully somebody gets this, somebody else that's maybe an entrepreneur, somebody that's got their own business, that they will help somebody in need. I've had plenty of people help me with things, financially. There's with help, like actual work and stuff like that, and I couldn't have done things without that help. So remember, biblical helping is quiet, humble, and God focused. But it's also okay, I think, to share it, because in this day and age, everybody's selfish. I was going to really talk about selfishness today, to be honest with you. When I first woke up this morning, I was thinking about selfishness for some reason. And then this opportunity came up, and I thought, well, maybe I'm going to intertwine it with this somehow. So, we don't do it for applause. We don't do it for content. Okay, this is content and not for credit. I'm not doing it for credit. I'm not, I don't know how to explain it, but I know that by helping her, it's going to help. I don't want to give out too much information, but I can tell from her tears that she is spiritually broken, and I'm trying to help her with her. Not that she's not a believer. She knows she's a believer. She knows she's going to heaven. She has no doubt in her mind. But I'm not going to say someone took advantage of her, but it's kind of at the point where I can't see her dish out more money on this RV. And she just doesn't have the money to do it. She's out over $8,000 already, and I'm gonna get this furnace fixed. I'm gonna put the toilet in. She is gonna pay for parts on anything and a little bit of labor. I feel like I have to charge a little bit for business purposes because of insurance and stuff like that. But anyhow, it's I'm definitely not doing this for content creation at all. In fact, that's why I hadn't even filmed over there. I may try to film a little something. I don't know. I'm not sure. But you gotta keep your senses about it too. You gotta use wisdom, and because wisdom does matter, and helping doesn't mean enabling destructive behavior. That's not this case, okay, at all. There's nothing destructive. There's no behavior that I would, there was plenty of that in the homeless industry, okay? When I worked with the homeless, there was plenty of people that we helped that, had we not helped them, maybe they would have gotten help on their own at some point. I don't know. In 2 Thessalonians 3:10, Paul reminds believers about responsibility and work ethic. This lady's retired. She's, at the age where work's not the thing. She's on a fixed income. She's on Social Security. Sometimes helping means giving food, not cash, offering accountability, praying with them. I did that with her. Connecting them to resources. I've done plenty of that in my past. I know the signs. I know what to look for. Do I get taken every now and then? I'm sure I would if I was to get back into that. But grace and wisdom go together. So you got to show grace, along with that wisdom. At the heart of it all, ultimately helping someone in need reflects Jesus himself. In Matthew 25:40, Jesus says, "Whatever you did for one of the least of these, brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." When you serve the hurting, you're serving Christ. And that's the. I feel like she's hurting. I feel like she needs that reassurance that that there's still good people out in the world. Okay. Living in an RV is not cheap. I'll be honest with you. There's a good living to be made being an RV technician. I'm not complaining about how the money I've made, but I've lost a lot because of my issues with my Google business page. I did something wrong that I shouldn't have done by moving my address, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that was wrong, but then I hired a company to fix it all, and they made it even worse. So I have not done quite as well as I thought I would. And that's where I really feel like that if we're gonna call ourselves Christians, we've got to be willing to get messy, get dirty, be inconvenienced, and do things to help other people to be able to see above the waterline. You know what I'm saying? There's people who they're just drowning in sorrow, drowning in their the things that are going wrong. And when I told her, I said, there's a season of things going bad, and there's a season of things that are will go good. And she's just like, I just have not seen that season in so long. And to me, that just broke my heart. When I was on the phone with her and I gave her my pricing and all that kind of stuff, she just kind of defeatedly kind of said, no. She goes, I just can't afford you. And she said this, and this is what always gets me, because I probably shouldn't give away all my secrets here, but when somebody says, well, do you take credit cards? I always ask them, is this going to cause you to go into debt further? If the answer is yes, I'm not going to let them do that. I'm going to work a way out to where at least they're covering the parts and maybe a little bit of labor or a trip fee or something. I have to charge them something. I can't just charge her, and I'm gonna have to charge her tax on the toilet. Just remember, biblical love moves, biblical love shows up, and biblical love costs something. I think those are important, 3 very important things to kind of look at when you're trying to decide if this is something you need to do. You also need to make sure you use wisdom. And maybe that wisdom is talking to somebody else about it. So make sure that you're giving you're asking somebody, for advice on whatever situation you may be faced with, trying to help somebody. I really want this vlog to help somebody. Okay? This particular vlog, I want it to help somebody. I want somebody to, maybe this comes just at the right time for you, that you're faced with somebody that can't, how do I tell somebody when it's 18 degrees outside, you can't have heat? It's just not, what is the thing, paying it forward or whatever. I don't know what it is, but maybe by helping her, I'll get more jobs this spring and summer to make the difference up. You know, not that I'll charge those people more. Let me be clear, but maybe they'll be more profitable jobs, if that makes any sense. Because there's jobs that you barely make any money, and then there's jobs where you make really good money. So I hope this helps somebody out there. I hope this, gets somebody's business, maybe to help somebody out. So maybe you'll see a benefit from this. Anyhow, hey, if you like this kind of content, would you like and subscribe to the vlog? I'm putting these out daily, and it's a labor of love, but it's good. I mean, I'm not doing any fancy editing and all that kind of stuff. I keep it pretty plain, and I really enjoy doing this every day. It's forcing me to use Final Cut Pro every day, because I like to edit videos, and I'll go through some more old videos, maybe over the weekend, I don't know, and try to scrounge up some stuff that I can edit and put together. I just enjoy doing this and kind of doing my walk and talk. Still trying to work out all the bugs, trying to figure out what's the best setup and all that kind of junk. So, as I always say, if the Lord wills, we'll see you in the next vlog. Like and subscribe. God bless.